I walk out and there was smoke coming out of every other apartment. Smoke coming up from downstairs. It seemed like the third floor kind of lit on fire. And when I got downstairs, the fire department just showed up, and there was fire coming out of the windows exploding. I just watched it get worse and worse.
Good evening, and we continue at 5 with breaking news out of Southwest Portland, where an entire apartment building went up in flames, with tenants scrambling to flee their homes, and amidst the rescues of firefighters suffering minor injuries. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Moko. The impacts from this monster of a fire, which broke out around 10:30, rippled quickly across the Rose City. Fly 8 with a bird's eye view with thick smoke billowing and flames licking the rooftop. From our vantage point at KGW, just a block away, our team heard multiple explosions. Power was cut, max service through the area suspended, along with a complete shutdown of neighboring I-405 in both directions that lasted for several hours. You get the idea. 405 back open this evening. As far as we know, train and bus service is back to normal. Let's get right to team coverage. Blair Best has been talking to people who have essentially lost everything. But first to Mike Benner with an update on where this hours-long firefight now stands. Mike.
Well, David, good evening. You alluded to it. The first calls to 911 came in around 10:30 this morning, and here we are about 6.5 hours later. And if I step out of the way, you'll notice that there is still a large firefighting presence out here at this hour. A lot of that has to do with the fear that this building could collapse. But in addition to that, firefighters are still pouring water on this building and keeping an eye on the hot spots. All of this from a fire that everyone escaped from, but a fire that brought parts of downtown Portland to a standstill today.
Late Tuesday morning in downtown Portland, flames tear through a more than 100-year-old apartment building at the corner of Southwest 14th and Taylor. Resident Sentiera Forbes woke up to black smoke in her apartment.
I thought maybe it was started in my apartment for some reason, so I opened the front door, black smoke in the hallway. I knew I wouldn't get down, so I had to take the fire escape with my dog.
Forbes and her dog weren't the only ones on the fire escape looking to get to safety. Fire crews tell us several people needed to be rescued.
We quickly both threw ladders and effected the rescues of the individuals that were on the fire escape and entered the structure and made sure that people were aware that this alarm that was going, it was a real fire.
This video shot by a KGW drone is an indication of just how real the fire was. It gave firefighters fits, and the building's unreinforced masonry walls didn't help the situation. They made access difficult. And then there's this.
You have an unreinforced building, you get structural integrity that degrades as a result of the impingement of the fire on the inside. You could lose the walls. Concerns
the building could collapse consumed firefighters for most of the day, not to mention concern for one of their own who was hurt.
We had probably a flashover situation on the inside of the 4th floor, and it blew out the windows from the 4th floor all the way across the street, and it did hit one of the firefighters in the forehead. Small cut.
That firefighter, we're told, got right back to work, battling a fire that in all likelihood completely destroyed Sentiera Forbes' apartment and everything in it.
That's a good thing I have renter's insurance, I guess, but I don't know what I'm going to do today.
All right, unfortunately, firefighters are used to massive fires in downtown Portland. You might recall just a few months ago, the big fire at the old Korean church. That building was on the city's unsafe building list. This building here, though, is not, despite it being 113 years old. Now, as far as the cause of this fire, no cause yet. It is under investigation. In the meantime, we can tell you that crews will be out here for some time to come. So if you are coming downtown, keep that in mind because a number of streets are closed. Back to you.
All right, Mike Benner reporting. Thank you, Mike. Let's bring in Blair Best now. Blair, you were there when fire crews arrived. You watched many of those rescues unfold, along with those who had already escaped the building. I mean, I can't even imagine. What are folks telling you there?
David, it is truly a devastating scene out here. I just watched one of the tenants walk by me crying. As you can see behind me, many of the fire crews are still here trying to put out this massive fire. Now, since it started in the morning, many tenants tell us that they woke up with heavy smoke in their hallways and firefighters at their windows. The sidewalks are lined with tenants as they watch their apartment building go up in flames.
So I went and looked out the door and it was dark and smoky.
This woman tries to catch her breath behind the caution tape. Firefighters had to carry her out of her apartment Tuesday morning.
They got me down and set me on the curb. Then a window blew out and we had to move.
She was one of the 4 people fire crews rescued.
I know my friends she got off work, came home, her apartment's up in flames, her pets are gone, and then the neighbor right next to them, their pets are gone.
Tenants like Nicholas Gomez describe a chaotic morning as they rushed to evacuate the building.
All I have is my phone, the clothes I'm wearing. I have my social security cards in there, my IDs in there.
The tenants say there were no sprinklers inside and the fire alarm never went off.
I didn't know the building was on fire right above me until the fire department alerted me that it was.
As crews work to put out this massive fire, tenants face a daunting road ahead.
I think about how I'm going to start over. I have to start, I'm going to lose everything. And I'm not sure how I'm going to do that.
Blair, we heard it there, starting over from nothing. So what happens to people like Nicholas Gomez now? Do they have anywhere to go?
Well, David, it's, as you heard, really a terrible situation for so many of these tenants. The Red Cross is on scene right now trying to help some of these displaced tenants find a place to stay tonight. And earlier today, there was a TriMet bus parked nearby just to help them escape the heat. David?
Thanks, Blair. Appreciate your reporting on this. There are still some lingering outages this evening after PGE shut down power to the area this morning. Here's a look at the latest outage map. Right now, still about 200 customers in the dark. PGE estimating that all service will be restored by about noon tomorrow. Stay with KGW for continuing coverage of the Goose Hollow building fire. Updates as we get them online at KGW.com and on the KGW app. Well, happening right now, the NBA Draft Lottery. Let's take you live to Brick's Tavern in the Pearl, where Rip City fans have gathered to see if there is a chance the Blazers can defy the odds and snag the top pick. The 5th best odds for Rip City, which means there is a 10.5% chance of that with 13 other teams in the mix. But hey, you know what? 10% is still a chance. You might say history is also on our side since the Trailblazers landed #1 back in 2007. Well, the ping pong balls are about to be drawn. Our Art Edwards keeping a very close eye on them. We'll update you as soon as we learn how it all shakes out. Meanwhile, today is Election Day in Oregon. While it's not too late to vote, a reminder: ballots must be postmarked with today's date or in a drop box by 8 p.m. That is the deadline. If you're in Multnomah County and you need support, for example, you have lost or misplaced your ballot, you can head to the main elections office in Southeast Portland or the Voting Center Express in Gresham. Some of the key races in the county: Measure 26238. That is the proposed capital gains tax to fund legal help for tenants facing eviction. Also, a renewal of the Portland's Children's Levy, one of 5 seats on the Multnomah County Commission also up, and then across our region, a ton of school board positions. We are expecting the first results just after 8 on KGW.com. Complete coverage, of course, tonight on KGW News at 11. Speaking of elected officials in Salem, it is now day 11 of a Republican-led Senate walkout, which means today a 4th Oregon senator reached 10 unexcused absences. That is the magic number which disqualifies lawmakers from re-election, thanks to Measure 113, which voters passed last November. Now, Republicans initially said they were protesting bills that weren't written in plain language, but now they indicate they're trying to make a point that proposals around gun reform and abortion are what some call hyper-partisan. Today, Senator Cedric Hayden from Fall Creek tallied his 10th unexcused absence. And while GOP lawmakers say they plan to challenge Measure 113 in court, State Senator Daniel Bonham, who reached 10 on Monday, says he's also willing to put his re-election at risk.
And you may not be able to say that ballot measure 113 is a viable law once it's challenged in court. And I do think that that's going to be the case. That said, I'm more than willing to not serve in office again and take this stand. And I think Oregonians, by and large, will agree with the stand that I'm taking.
We will see how it shakes out. As it stands, 6 other Republican senators currently have 8 unexcused absences. That means if the walkouts continue this week, they'll reach 10 on Thursday, potentially disqualifying them from re-election. We have some new details this evening on a difficult story. 18-year-old Jacob Stokes, a senior at Beaverton's Mountainside High, presumed drowned after he disappeared while swimming Friday at the Oregon coast. Now, this is an important clarification from fire officials in Cannon Beach who say witnesses told them Stokes and 3 friends were not swimming at the time. Instead, they were wading in knee-deep water when they were hit by a wave and pulled out by the rip current. Now, 2 of the teens made it out on their own. A third was rescued. Stokes' body has not yet been recovered.